It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, reporting live from Dallas, Texas. I want to thank each and every one of our listeners today. Make sure to follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting your notifications. Also follow us on All Access Elite Boxing on Facebook, All Access Elite Boxing on Instagram. And if you're on Twitter, make sure to tweet us at All Access Elite. This video is being brought to you by Express Bail Bonds. If you guys are in need of a bail bondsman, if you guys get pulled over, need tickets uplifted, have warrants, or even violated your probation, give these guys a call. They have the cheapest rates in the DFW, Dallas, Texas Metroplex area, 214-766-1644. That number again is 214-766-1644. Express Bail Bonds. All right, fight fans, let's talk some boxing. In recent boxing news, Top Rank Promotions has finally announced their triple header for December the 14th on ESPN. Of course, it's going to be Terrence Crawford facing undefeated his WBO mandatory fighter, KAVALISUSKAS. And the co-main event on this one is going to be Teofimo Lopez versus IBF champion from Ghana, Richard Commey. They'll also be featuring Michael Conlan, the Irish fighter. He's going to be fighting Vladimir Nikitin. Was the same gentleman that he fought in the Olympics when he lost, which was a big stir, big controversy in the Olympics. And that's where, of course, Michael Conlan, for those who have followed him, had gotten famous with his image of sticking the middle finger up to all the Olympic judges. I'm excited about this fight, man. Specifically, I'm really looking forward to the Teofimo Lopez, Richard Commey fight. These guys have been on a collision course all year. They actually fought here in Dallas, which I covered live. Richard Commey ended up winning the IBF title, fighting an undefeated fighter from, I believe, the Ukraine. Man, this guy's a big puncher. You can hear the snaps in his punches being there live at the event. Tall, he's rangy, and he throws punches in bunches, man. He has tons of power. He ended up having his title defense against Ray Beltran from Mexico. And if those who have followed Ray Beltran, he's always fluctuated between 135 to 140 pounds, but this guy has never been stopped. Ray Beltran, having met him before as well, man, this guy has concrete construction worker type hands, and he always carried his power really well. But man, this guy was dropped, I want to say 4 or 5 times against Commey, and Commey was able to stop him. Teofimo Lopez, on the other hand, he looked impressive in his showing here in Dallas in February of this year. He fought Diego Magdaleno. Of course, for those that watched, he had an excessive celebration. He ended up getting the knockout. Magdaleno ended up, talking mess about the country of Honduras, which is, of course, where Teofimo and his family is from. And, Teofimo didn't like that, man. He ended up taking out his frustrations out on Magdaleno. Ended up having that Fortnite celebration. Nevertheless, man, Teofimo continuously kept building his name. He was getting all these sensational knockouts, and now he ended up he was on the verge of earning a title shot against Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko ended up fighting Luke Campbell, ended up, beating him, of course. And right now, the way that they have it set up is, potentially the winner of this bout is going to get a unification fight with Vasily Lomachenko, hopefully early next year. Now, I know Teofimo has aired his frustrations out in regards to, him not being able to continuously make the 135-pound weight limit. I know he's mentioned to the press on social media as such that he was looking into making a move to 140 pounds. I mean, he's not a very big 135-pound fighter to begin with as far as stature-wise and height-wise. And I know that he ended up having a meeting with Bob Arum in Top Rank, and they ended up getting him a nutritionist. And they really are trying to keep him at 135 pounds as much as possible. Teofimo has not looked good in his most recent fight against the Japanese fighter. He was going through a lot of family issues, a lot of family problems with regards to his mother. He recently got married, and apparently the mother was his nutritionist, and she didn't approve of the marriage, which caused friction between the fighter and his parents. Of course, he's trained by his father, in which they were training in Las Vegas, but now Teofimo has moved to New York with his bride, with his wife. Recently he's been traveling a lot around the world. A lot of people are, especially the boxing fans, are saying, hey, his head is not right. He's not focused. He's not taking his training seriously. And it could also be one of those issues where, has he learned everything that he can learn from his father? Is there a change that needs to happen as far as the head trainer's concerned? I mean, he's been with his dad since the Olympics, since he was an amateur. His father taught him everything that he knows. And, one thing about those fighters, man, from Ghana, especially with Richard Commey, those guys come to fight. He has his whole country behind him. I actually had the opportunity of meeting and chatting with his videographer, his photographer. This guy's from London. Man, he was telling me a bunch of stories about Richard Commey when he's in Ghana, how he just loves giving back to the community, how he's like a local hero. He's always in the local boxing gyms in the neighborhoods, donating gloves, donating shoes, giving his time to the youth out there. And, he always, in each and every one of his fights, if you ever look at his trunks, he always has his photographer take pictures of all the kids in the neighborhood. A lot of these kids, they grow up in really, really bad economic backgrounds. A lot of them don't have parents. A lot of them are foster children. And, he puts pictures of all the kids that he's come across, that he's helped, and that he's inspiring on his trunks. And whenever he fights, whether it be on Showtime, whether it be on ESPN and things as such, it's a big community gathering. Villages gather just to watch their homegrown fighter fight, man. And that's a beautiful thing about boxing, is that it definitely brings and unites everybody together. But like I said, Commey is no pushover. This fight, in my opinion, is truly a 50-50 fight. Teofimo has struggled with taller fighters. He's struggled with fighters with longer reaches. And Teofimo, he's never faced anybody with the power of Richard Commey. Richard Commey is a serious threat. He has more experience. He has fought better opposition. And it's going to be a very, very tough task, especially if it goes the distance, because, Richard Commey, man, he's going to come forward and he's going to land big bombs, big shots. And one thing that I always like about Commey is when he throws punches, he fully extends and he fully puts his glove into those shots. And that's something that not all fighters do. At times they get a little bit reckless. They can get a little bit they smother their punches, so to speak. But Richard Commey, man, he just knows how to fight from a distance and knows how to throw precise punches. So we're going to see, man. We're going to see if Teofimo's going to be able to get in and out, attack the body in hopes of dropping the hands and using his superior speed and combinations to Commey. But I don't know, man. It's going to be a very, very tough fight. I see it as a 50-50, and it could honestly go either way. In the main event, obviously, we have Terrence Crawford against Igas KAVALISUSKAS. A lot of people don't know this, but Igas KAVALISUSKAS, he actually started with Robert Garcia in Oxnard, California at the RGBA, Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. If I'm not mistaken, Robert Garcia had purchased a gym, or he was training out of a gym that he owned back in Oxnard, in which Robert Garcia, after making the move to Riverside, where he currently has 30 plus stable fighters, world champions, contenders, unbeaten prospects, he ended up selling his boxing gym in Oxnard, California to Klimas, the manager for a lot of these Ukrainian undefeated fighters, and that's where a lot of these guys are training. A lot of these guys from the Ukraine, Russia area, they train in Oxnard, California, at the former gym of Robert Garcia's, including Vasily Lomachenko. Now, Igas KAVALISUSKAS didn't really look good in his last fight. He is the mandatory for Terence Crawford, and I mean, they call him the mean machine. He's a pretty decent puncher, carries a decent pop, but he's not really a boxer. I mean, this guy, he's more of a brawler. He comes in and you know, he's willing to bang. But, you know, with Terence Crawford, I mean, with his superior speed, again, he has great angles, technique. He's just a technician in the ring. I think Terence Crawford wins this one by late stoppage. Again, what I do like is that Top Rank is going to be putting on this show literally after the Heisman Trophy ceremony on December the 14th. Top Rank has put a couple of shows on the same date in the past, and I know ESPN as well as Top Rank really love the numbers that it generates, because it's literally right after the ceremonies. Again, it's on ESPN and not ESPN Plus. One of the great things about that is that, you know, fight fans have something to look forward to in December. You know, you got the Anthony Joshua, Andy Reese fight happening a week prior in December the 7th or 8th, rather. And then you also have a potential showdown between Chavez Jr. as well as Daniel Jacobs. That's being rumored for December the 14th in Texas on the Zone. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I know when I asked Terence Crawford's trainer, Bomac, in the past, I asked him, hey, you know, how many fights do you guys have left with Top Rank? He mentioned to me it was 3. He has 3 contractual fights with Top Rank, with Igas KAVALISUSKAS being one of them. That, of course, brings it down to 2. The way that I see it playing out is he'll fight Igas KAVALISUSKAS, and I think eventually he'll end up fighting Jose Ramirez, who was obviously the unified 140-pound champion. Once he moves up to 147, you know, the hope is to keep him undefeated, in which he'll fight Terence Crawford. And, of course, if Crawford is able to get past Jose Ramirez, I think his last and final fight with Top Rank would be against Errol Spence Jr. Now, it's going to be tough, because I know that in the past, Top Rank has certain terms, legal verbiage that they put into their contracts, to whereas if they're able to give their fighter a certain amount of fights, or keep them in a certain amount of rankings, or, you know, giving them a certain amount of championship fight opportunities, or even helping them become champions, a lot of times in the contracts they state that, you know, hey, if they get you to a certain point, you owe them another 3 more fights, or you have to extend, you know, your contract for another 2 more years or 3 more years, or whatever the case may be. I know that's happened to a lot of fighters, and I know that, you know, there's also fighters that either buy themselves out of the contract, either dispute their contracts, and, you know, that's what happens. I mean, obviously one would love to see if Terence Crawford is able to, you know, test the water a little bit, see what's available on the other side when it comes to PBC and Premier Boxing Champions. You know, Al Heyman obviously has hundreds of fighters, but he also has all of the top tier welterweights in the world. I mean, he got Errol Spence Jr., he has Porter, he has Thurman, he has Manny Pacquiao, he has Danny Garcia. I mean, you can even throw Lipinen's name in there. I mean, he has all of them. If Terence Crawford really wants and dares to be great, and really wants to solidify his legacy at welterweight, he has to make a move. Now, that's not to say that Top Rank is not willing or is not going to be able to work with Al Heyman in the future. Obviously, they're working together in hopes of putting the Wilder Tyson Fury fight in February. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if Fury's eye is going to be healed up by then. I know he's currently testing the waters, so to speak, with the WWE. I mean, he's going to be fighting one of their pay-per-view showings later on in October. And I don't know if that's going to be a career path he's going to want to take. I mean, you're getting exposed to millions and millions of people around the world. You're building your stock in the United States, but also globally, in hopes that you are able to generate a few 100,000 more buys when it comes to fighting Wilder. And of course, that just helps them from a financial standpoint. But again, it's your boy Jimmy Blue. Give us a like. Make sure to comment down below. Talk to, let us know what you think. What fight, who do you feel that Crawford, what do you think he should do next? Should he leave Top Rank? Should he extend his contract? What do you feel about him fighting Jose Ramirez after he, presumably defeats KAVALISUSKAS, and then after that fighting Spence? Give us your thought, fight fans. Again, it's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, signing off.